When you think of marriage, you don't picture your wife standing in the kitchen, adjusting her lipstick, casually saying, "By the way, my ex might show up tonight. Don't freak out and embarrass me." Our housewarming party, our first home together, and she dropped that sentence like she was telling me the pizza might arrive late. I didn't yell. I didn't even blink. "Why would he be here?" I asked. She smirked, shrugged, and said, "He wanted to congratulate me. Be mature." "Okay, if you cause drama, we're done." She spoke like I was a ticking bomb and she was the civilized saint. Yet something in her tone didn't sit right. The kind of tone that says this wasn't a surprise for her. Only for me. And when someone gives you a warning before the crime, they already planned chaos. The party started smooth. Friends from work, neighbors, my best buddy from college, everyone congratulating us, admiring the house, drinking wine on the patio. She floated around like a queen hosting her royal coronation. But I kept replaying her words in my head. Her ex coming. Stay mature. A test, a threat. And suddenly, I realized this wasn't immaturity. She was warning me about it was power. She wanted control. She wanted to see if she could embarrass me publicly. And I would stay silent just to keep our marriage intact. She wasn't worried about drama. She was curious how much disrespect I could swallow. That's when I decided I wouldn't be the one embarrassed tonight. 2 hours in, she kept checking her phone, touching her hair, smiling at notifications, pretending to laugh at conversations while her eyes stayed glued to her screen. Everyone noticed she was distracted, but they thought she was just hosting stress. I knew better. When you've shared a bed, a life, whisper dreams at 2 a.m., you recognize someone's excitement. And her excitement wasn't for me or this house or this party. It was for whoever she was texting. And if it was her ex, like she hinted, then she wasn't afraid of losing me. She was testing how far she could push before I broke. And betrayal doesn't always start in bedrooms. Sometimes it starts in pride. My friend Marcus leaned in and quietly asked, "Everything good? She looks like she's waiting on someone." I smiled calmly and nodded, "I know." That shocked him. He expected anger, jealousy, a reaction, but I wasn't going to give anyone the satisfaction of seeing me insecure. Control is power, and silence is a throne when you sit on it with confidence. I just sipped my drink, greeted guests, laughed with neighbors while my wife thought she was running the game. What she didn't realize is that kings don't rush, they observe, then strike when the kingdom is watching. Finally, she whispered to me, "He's here. Remember what I said. Behave." Then she walked toward the front door like she was greeting royalty. Everyone turned their heads. Curious. People love drama more than appetizers. The door opened and my stomach didn't drop because standing there wasn't her ex. It was Uber Eats. I watched her fake smile freeze, then melt into embarrassment as she pretended she expected the delivery. Guests looked confused. She shrugged and laughed awkwardly, but her face flushed. I didn't react. I just sipped my drink. Silence was louder than anger. She darted back to the kitchen, face stiff, whisper shouting, "Why are you smirking? You think this is funny?" I shrugged lightly. "You told everyone someone important was arriving. He didn't show." She clenched her jaw. "I didn't say everyone. I only told you." She snapped. That was her mistake. Raising her voice. People nearby heard. Now the attention wasn't on the fictional ex. It was on why she was panicking. Her insecurity walked into the room before she did. When someone plans emotional dominance and loses control, they don't just lose power, they expose their desperation. She stormed out to the patio and loudly announced, "Okay, everyone, dinner is almost ready. Sorry, some mix-up at the door." It sounded shaky, unnatural, like a bad actress forgetting lines. People exchanged looks. Nothing destroys confidence like confusion mixed with humiliation. I stayed calm, talking, smiling, answering questions about the house like nothing happened. But while she pretended everything was normal, she kept staring at her phone, the real crack in her disguise. Guilt doesn't hide well. 10 minutes later, her phone buzzed on the counter. She had walked to the bathroom. A text lit the screen. "I can't come. My girlfriend is suspicious." Stop calling me. My chest didn't burn. It iced. So, it was her ex. She really did invite him in our new home on our celebration night. My hands didn't shake. That's the power of betrayal clarity. It doesn't drown you. It dries you out and leaves you sharp enough to cut everything fake. I didn't need to read more. One sentence was enough to end an entire chapter. She returned, saw me standing near her phone, and froze. I looked at her calmly, and smiled. The kind of smile that isn't joy but revelation. Without touching her or saying a word to her privately, I tapped my glass lightly and said, "Everyone, thank you for being here. We are grateful to start this chapter surrounded by people who mean something real." The room quieted. She stared at me, eyes widening, and then I placed her phone on the table. Screen up, that message visible like a confession carved into stone. Gasp. Silence. Truth doesn't need dramatics. It just needs light. Her face drained. "You misunderstood," she began. I lifted a hand gently. "There is no misunderstanding. Tonight, I learned I didn't buy a home with a wife. I bought a house with someone who still keeps doors open to her past." Calm voice, calm breathing. But truth slices quieter than screaming ever could. She reached for my arm. "We can talk later." I stepped back. "No, guests deserve honesty since you thought I needed to stay mature. And I'm choosing dignity over drama." Some guests looked heartbroken for me. Some disgusted at her. She stood there shaking, not because of me, but because lies drown when truth walks in calmly. I walked toward the front door, grabbed my keys, and before leaving, I said gently, "This is our housewarming party. Perfect time to see what's warm and what's cold." Then I walked out. No yelling, no chaos, just control. She called after me, voice cracking. "Please don't go." It was nothing. But she didn't chase me outside because chasing requires sincerity. And she only had ego. That night, she sent long texts apologizing, blaming confusion, promising explanations. I read none fully. Betrayal isn't when someone leaves. It's when someone lets someone else stay in their heart while living in your home. And I refused to be second option in a place I built first. The next morning, movers weren't needed. I only took the things dignity wanted. The home stayed. The illusion left. And sometimes the calmest exit leaves the loudest echo. Because love doesn't fail when someone cheats. Love fails when someone tests loyalty like it's entertainment and discovers silence is stronger than begging.